Strobel. I taught English in Cambodia for about a month and a half back in 2007, 2008. There was a volunteer group where I was living at the time. There was a large Cambodian American population in the city I lived in, so we did a lot of outreach stuff through nonprofit organizations in Cambodia. So I ended up going over to help teach English and dig wells, help with building sanitation facilities and that kind of thing. I started learning Khmer a little bit before I went over because I had a lot of friends who were originally from Cambodia. And then once I got over there, being around it on a day-to-day basis, it picked it up really quick. I haven't used it in quite a while though, so my Khmer skills have gotten a little rusty, but... Which just means I speak a little bit of Khmer. I could say, which is I taught English in Cambodia. Daily life in Cambodia really depends on where you live. There's a huge income gap within Cambodia. So if you live in the cities, you tend to be a little bit better off financially. So you have running water, electricity, access to internet. You live a kilometer or two outside of the city, and you live in a hut made out of palm fronds. You maybe have one or two lights that are run by a car battery. A lot of people come every once in a while and change out the car battery. Phnom Penh, which is the capital of Cambodia. Cambodia's 2/3 of Cambodia's population lives in Phnom Penh. I did some teaching and some outreach in Phnom Penh, and then we traveled to the northern part of the country where Angkor Wat is, which is up by Siem Reap, closer to the Thai border. And while up there, I did teaching at a village. I call it floating village, because the center of Cambodia is a giant lake called the Tonle Sap. And every year, as the snow melt comes down out of the Himalayas, the rush of water is so much that when it hits the ocean, the flow of the river reverses and floods the central part of the country. So they build these towns where all the houses are on stilts in the middle of this lake, and they're fishing villages. So I taught there for a while. I had friends from there, and I was just always kind of interested in the history of Cambodia. Cambodia went from 500 years ago being the biggest empire in Southeast Asia to, within the past, 50 years, they gained independence from France. They used to be a French colony. And then during the Vietnam War and after the Vietnam War, when the Pol Pot regime took over and the genocide happened, they've been trying to gradually rebuild since then. And I think my interest in the history of the country and wanting to help them rebuild was what drew me there. In the city, there are some government-run schools, but a lot of Cambodians don't feel that the government-run schools give a high enough quality of education. The government in Cambodia is known for being one of the most corrupt in the world. So a lot of the money that they receive in foreign aid or they receive in taxation never really funnels back down to the people and the services for the people. So in the cities, you see a lot of non-governmental organizations creating private schools. And I taught at a couple of the private schools in Phnom Penh. And a lot of what you see out in the countryside is the Buddhist monks will have classrooms at the temples, and a lot of the kids in the more rural villages get taught by the monks within the temples versus the public education system. culture before I even went over there, just by the number of Cambodians that I knew and the number of Cambodians in the area where I lived. But yeah, going over there definitely opened my eyes to the full picture and everything that the Cambodian people have been through in the past 40, 50 years. Well, it was volunteering. We volunteered at 2 in Phnom Penh. One of them was through like a sister organization to the organization I went over there with. And then we taught, we did a couple classes at a university in Siem Reap, which is in northern Cambodia, and then I taught at a couple of village schools in northern Cambodia. Well, we went through a distance learning program through Rochester Community and Technical College in Rochester, Minnesota, but our sister program in Cambodia is CFO, which is Cambodian Family Organization. Yeah, they do trips on a yearly basis. Every December they have a trip that goes over and is over there for around a month. I would definitely go back. I would go back in a heartbeat. Yep, I made a lot of friends in Cambodia. A lot of them I still talk to online and stuff. The Cambodian riel, as the currency of Cambodia, is usually pegged at about 4,000 riel to the US dollar. So the smallest note that they do make is 100 riel, which is like 2 cents. There are no coins in Cambodia because of the inflation rate is so high that it wouldn't be profitable for them to mint coins. So they make only bills. They do them in 100 riel, 500 riel, 1,000 riel, 2,000 riel, 5,000 riel, and 10,000 riel. So 4,000 riel to the US dollar, you're looking at like a 2,000 riel note would be 50 cents US. But your average daily cost of living over there is maybe $1 or $2. So they eat a lot of fish. Rice is their main carbohydrate, and then they eat a lot of fish, a lot of vegetables, a lot of stir-fried type dishes. They eat what's called bahok, which is a fermented fish, a way for them to store their fish for long periods of time. Yeah, it's a stylized picture of Angkor Wat.
That's cool. Why is it on their flag?
That's kind of like the symbol of Khmer identity is Angkor Wat. After the Khmer Empire fell, they ended up losing territory, I mean, by leaps and bounds from the Thai and the Vietnamese. And they ended up becoming vassal states between Thailand and Vietnam. So they went from being top dog in Southeast Asia to being a very repressed society by outside forces, and then the French took over in the 1860s. So that's kind of like a symbol of the former glory that the Khmer had at one time. So they view that as their symbol of national identity. That's Cambodian silk. That's a tapestry of Angkor Wat.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's rough silk. That's the next step before fine silk in the silk refining process. Also surrounded by a wall.
So it's a rock.
Yeah, it's all made on stone.
How long ago was it?
I think Angkor Thom, that's a little bit older than Angkor Wat. I think Angkor Thom is probably around 1100. I think Angkor Wat was around 1200. Bente Srai, I think Bente Srai is around 900 years old. Yep, that's a picture of Angkor Wat.
Bridge.
Yeah, that's a picture of Naga Bridge. On the way to Siem Reap from Phnom Penh, there's an ancient bridge over a river that all the pilgrims going to the temples would walk across. And the naga, it's a multi-headed snake. It's considered a form of like a protective spirit.
This one has that bridge and it's the
Yep.
same thing. Who's...
That is the former king,
Okay.
Norodom Sihanouk.
And what's on the back?
It's a picture of the royal palace in Phnom Penh.
What's that?
That's a picture of the shipyards in Sihanoukville, also called Kampong, which is, Cambodia's only got a tiny portion of coastline on the Bay of Thailand. The rest of the coastline got taken over by the Vietnamese and the Thai. So that's their main shipping center. There's a lot of gemstone mining in Cambodia, and then their main cash crop is rice. They do export a lot of rice, and they're in the process now of mining natural gas and oil reserves or deposits that they found. So hopefully that'll help the economy of Cambodia in the future. It has been. There's been a lot of foreign investment from Korea and Japan. In fact, when I was over there, it's been quite a while. When I was over there, the tallest building in Phnom Penh was probably only around 8 or 9 stories. Now they've been building this project north of Phnom Penh called Camco City, which is mainly backed by Korean investment, and it's got multiple high-rise buildings. They're bringing a lot of banking and things into Cambodia, so there has been economic improvement in the past few years by a lot of foreign investment. Khmer, originally, it's based on Sanskrit, which is the same ancient language that Hindi, what they speak in India, is based on. So there are some similarities there, but it also has indigenous influences. And it's also got influences from French, from when Cambodia was a colony of France. So there's a lot of French loanwords in Khmer as well.